Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thanks. It's quite the intro, ending with skateboarding. It's not quite as exciting as the rest of it sounds, but I'll take that. Before I kind of kick off this slightly hippy-dippy, realistically, that kind of innate feeling of that's not how the world works situation, I'm going to ask you to contemplate something for a second. Imagine tomorrow, starting tomorrow for the next 10 years of your life, when you wake up, you don't have to worry about money in any capacity. Everything is covered for you. You don't have to go to a job. Everything's the same. You live in the same means. You live in the same house. You drive the same car. You can spend basically the same amount of money, but you don't have to go to work. How do you spend your time? How do you fill your day? I don't mean the first week where you sleep in for the first time in a decade. I mean, over the next several years, how do you romanticize your day being filled? That didn't happen to me. I'm still waiting for my blank check. But in my early 20s, I found myself as the visual effects supervisor at one of the fastest growing production companies in Los Angeles. At a young age, I had a pretty insane list of credits, massive music videos with huge pop stars, commercials, feature films. All in all, I had quote-unquote made it, whatever that actually means, as most of us know. Basically, I had enough where my dad could have something to brag about when he went to the barber, which is what I'm going for. A couple of years into this, I got called into good old American jury duty, which is mandatory. You might get lucky, you might get a day or two, but I got a month and a half. For the first time in many, many years, I was not sitting in front of a computer for 36 hours a day, 40 days a week. I'd go outside during lunch and I'd say something like, "This is what California's like during the day. This is why my rent is so high." I realized that I had basically been focusing on this end goal, this idea of breaking into the industry. I enjoyed it, but I was burnt out and young, kind of no excuse. You never really get any sympathy from that age especially. But it's not what I wanted anymore. I wanted to see the sunshine a little bit more. I wanted to kind of grow as a person. I quit my job at the end of that month and a half, my dream job, which I'm sure went over wonderful with my parents. And I had a little bit more time, for the first time in a long time, to do something for myself. The first thing that kind of came to my mind was something that I never grew tired of, something I've been doing since a teenager. I've been doing for 17 years almost every day, and that's skateboarding. And oddly enough, filming skateboarding is a big part of it. With some extra free time, a good friend of mine, Killian Martin, is a Spanish skateboarder. Him and I decided to make something around Los Angeles, spend a few weekends traveling around, make a fun little skate film. Now, when I make skate videos, since I was young, picked up a camera, I've always kind of looked at skateboarding in a slightly different way. I've always kind of liked to show off the more, I don't know, a little more abstract, a little more poetic sense. It's something that, I love the videos I grew up watching. Those are probably more akin to what you might imagine a skate video would be like, but I kind of wanted to portray what was inside of me, the way that skateboarding gave me, I don't know, just passion and enjoyment. We post the video, overnight, basically, several million views. Had no expectation out of this. Killian goes back to Spain, and a few months later, we're basking in this, and we say, "You want to give this another go? Should we do it again? Maybe this time in Spain?" I had never left the continent before. I'd never really traveled, maybe drove to Canada as a kid, which is something you can do in the States. And I went to Barcelona. We spent a few weeks traveling around, no money. Basically, my savings went to that ticket. We slept in train stations. We get kicked out of train stations. We slept in rainy parks. We lived off of banana and bread. And we made something special for ourselves, but we didn't actually expect anything else to happen. I go back, edit in Los Angeles, post the video, same thing. Goes viral almost overnight, several million views. Now, I'm not quite sure what to do with this information. It doesn't make you money, especially, we're talking a while ago, monetization and this weird kind of world we're in right now as far as the way YouTube makes money and online, wasn't even really in the conversation. But it sparked something in me that I realized was important to me. It wasn't about the money. It was this sense of satisfaction that I was contributing something from in here that I felt was really important. Since then, I've spent the past 8.5 years traveling to over 30 countries, teaching, filming, documenting skateboarders, artists around the world, 6 continents. I was thinking about this earlier. I've been in some weird other situations. I always get asked, "Oh, all you do is skateboard films?" Like, I don't know. I've done road trips through Morocco. A buddy of mine, I always forget about this. He goes, "This is Brett." He one time filmed the Queen of England. I filmed at the Royal Windsor Horse Show. For some reason, they invited me to do that, and I slept in the Queen's Gardens, and that's just a thing that happened to me one time. It's a funny thing about skateboarding. When you're skateboarding, you kind of get used to this like weird reaction when you tell people what you do. They always kind of give you a similar thing where they say, man, I wish I could do what you do. I'd be scared to step on a board. One time when I was a kid, I tried and I fell, and we're always like, okay. I mean, that's what skateboarding is. I mean, it's a connection, I get it, I understand. But like this idea that, okay, you fell, keep going. You're fearful, move on. That's what skateboarding is. It's falling. It's falling all the time. And I don't mean you fall a lot. I mean, that is pretty much what skateboarding is. It's basically falling all the time, and once in a while, if you're lucky, you're still moving. It builds a sense of humility. There's no concept of failure anymore in the same kind of capacity you're used to. It's just literally thrown against the concrete, and you get back up on that metaphorical and literal wooden horse. I mean, there's no other way I can think about it. It's self-empowerment. I don't need any coaches and teams. It's kind of a cliche way to talk about skateboarding amongst ourselves in the skateboarding community, but it's true. Like, it's 100% about you. You have no one else to blame. New skaters will think like, oh, my feet are too big. That's not a concept anymore. When you film or when you skate for 5, 10 years, it's no body type matters, no experience, where you're from, fully open. And it's global too. That's a crazy thing. We're now already at a stage where it's not really surprising anymore. It's mainstream enough where you hear that skateboarding lives in Morocco, China, India, all around the world. I know that I can go anywhere in the world and I have a family that I never expected to have before. I was in Ethiopia only a few weeks ago, and for unrelated nothing to do with skateboarding. And I reached out on social media to a group of skaters that I had seen, and immediately, do you need a place to stay? They showed me around town, restaurants. They gave me an experience about the city that I otherwise would maybe have missed. I didn't really know how to take that information. It's funny because now it's moving on to a whole new exponential part of the population quickly. I truly mean it when I say that the future of skateboarding, the next legends are no question going to be female. Absolutely. In my 17 years of skateboarding, over the past 5 specifically, I have seen more incredible girls come out and just rip apart the guys. The reasoning is there's no more fear anymore. Because when I was growing up, I'd always hear girls say things like, I'd love to do that. The guys that, it'd probably, tear into me. I'm not one of them. The reality is they would be excited because they hadn't seen a girl ever in their territory. They'd probably to a patriotic level of trying to help you out, but they're excited. But the difference is now with Instagram and YouTube and all these social media platforms is that girls are seeing girls like themselves skating. And so the idea that you need the validation from the guys, it's gone. Because it comes from within. You see the community just like yourselves, and sometimes that example can be very heavy and very amazing. I think that's something that's paralleled in my own career, is essentially when I've given up the idea that I need to have an endpoint, rather than enjoying the journey. I need to go somewhere. Money, for example. The idea that money is the symbol of wealth, not wealth itself. Money is something you romanticize, that if I only had the money, I'd do all these things. But there usually is a way to do those things without the money. And that's something that's kind of hard to grasp when you've been deep-rooted in this kind of built society, in a sense. I've spent my time basically traveling around with people that have lifted me up in a way that I never knew I could feel possible. A sense of empowerment. This idea that, I don't know, I spend my days with a child's toy. How serious could you possibly take me? And I feel like I've never worked a day in my life. When you get to travel the world, you get to see this kind of perspective, because that's the whole thing, is that the way we all exist right now, the way that we go about our careers, it's a perspective. You kind of go into school thinking that you finish school, this one part of school, and you move on to the next, and that's important because you're in the next part, and then you're going to work your way up in whatever industry. And sometimes you get to the end, and you say, by God, I've made it. I mean, what does that even mean? And so when you get a chance to travel, which I encourage everybody to, you get to see a side of the world that seems so different than your own story. And normalcy doesn't exist anymore. But when you connect with them, you find that, yeah, we're all people. I mean, of course, we're all people. We're all living the same complicated, complex, loving, tragic life as one another. We live in a very special time right now. I really feel this way, that the world is the smallest it's ever been, with the internet, TV, movies. The kid in East London can see imagery of situations going on in South America, in India, in the Congo. But at the same time, the world is the biggest it ever will be. I mean, air travel is new enough where we're all kind of still ourselves as much as sometimes we fear otherwise. Everybody kind of still has their situation going on right now. And that might not be the case in a few hundred years. This is a very unique moment that might not exist ever again. When I was growing up, my mom would tell me that by 30, I was going to make my first million. And then I turned 30. And she said, okay, well, I said that, but I also said that you'd have recognition. I love you, Mom. No, you didn't say any of that, but fair enough. But I think that's the thing, is that if I had thought 10 years ago that in 10 years I'd be standing on this stage with you, coming off of 3 months of borderline sleepless travel with Chicago, Orlando, Hawaii, Singapore, Dubai, Boston, Paris, New York, Vegas, Los Angeles, Ethiopia, and here over the course of the past 3 months, I would have imagined it must be money related. That's the only way you can have a life like that. And the comedy is, to get that life, I had to quit my job. I've spent the past 10 years working my way to even come close to the amount of money that I was making in my early 20s, just now finally feeling a bit more comfortable. And I think that's an important difference, is to not chase that end goal, but to understand the life in between. So I ask you again, if tomorrow, we'll put it this way, we all know, we're probably not going to wake up with that blank check in hand. Probably not. But are you spending your time furthering your life into a direction that completes who you are in here? Not what you're supposed to do, not what you're being taught to do, not what you've thought since you were a kid, but you've always wanted to do one thing, but you can't make money doing that. Are you doing something that if one day, tragically, in enough time, you're able to look back and say, yeah, okay, pretty cool. And if you're not, why not start? Instead of looking at life as an aim towards the finish line, don't miss everything in between. Thank you.